Hey, good afternoon, Marriage Encounter family. It's good to be here on this last week of December. Is it the last week? No, second to the last. I don't know. A few days before Christmas. How about that?
Part.
Yeah. When you get my age, the days just blend together into one long
It ain't
day.
even about age. It's just about the whole.
Man.
We started, and it feels like it should be July, and it's really December,
Right.
And it's like,
right.
Yeah,
It's just
none of
crazy.
that.
So,
yeah, none of that.
But hey, we want to welcome you back to week 4. We're still dealing with the basement season. You know, I'm a little tired of being in the basement. I've been in the basement for weeks now.
It's okay.
It's time for me to get up out the basement. But before I get up out the basement,
thought you liked the basement.
I do like the basement because my pool table's down there, my fish tank, my vinyl, my old school records.
That whole man cave thing.
Yeah, I do like. I don't mind being in the basement, but the food is upstairs.
Because we're getting close to the new year, we just want to kind of really reiterate with you that it is critical to focus on your marriage before the new year strikes. Again, we talk about this a lot, that you can't wait until you get into a situation to try to get prepped.
Right.
It's too late. Once the situation has happened, once you're there, once you're, at that space, at the new season, I can't go back and prepare once the new year has come. So these next few days, next week or so, are great opportunities for you to prepare your marriage. This is the time where we're fireproofing. If you've ever read that book or watched the movie, this is the time where we're fireproofing our marriage. During these times, you cannot allow the weight and the
pressure.
Yeah, to come up on you if you have not created a structure that is firm enough for it to be built upon. So this week's focus, we're going to reinforce before we rise. We're going to talk about We talked about leaks. We've talked about cracks. We've talked about load-bearing walls. Okay, so we talked about leaks, cracks, load-bearing walls. This week, we asked the most important basement question: what must be strengthened before we step into 2026? Because elevation without reinforcement equals
collapse.
What?
And
we ain't trying to do that.
We ain't trying to do that. And reinforcement is very necessary to carry the weight as we've been talking about. So what things do you need to reinforce? Where do we need to clarify, ladies and gentlemen? Where do we need more consistency? And quite frankly, where do we need more kindness? I like when my wife was talking about, we've talked about leaks and cracks. What was the other one?
Leaks, cracks, the load-bearing walls.
That sounds kind of sexy, don't
it? You nasty.
We're talking about leaks and cracks and load-bearing walls. Ooh. All right.
This is why we get in trouble.
But before we get to the leaks, the cracks, and the load-bearing walls, right? What do we need to reinforce, right? Where do we need to clarify? Where do we need more consistency? And where do we need to just operate in a greater state of kindness in our marriage?
Yeah, I think the thing about it is we can't assume January is going to magically fix our communication patterns. If you haven't been talking, if you haven't been communicating, if you haven't been doing those things well, moving into a new month isn't going to fix that. And so that's one of the things that we really want to look at is, how do we make sure that we are doing and putting into practice those things that will help us to communicate better? So trust reinforcements. So when we think about how do we reinforce our foundation, how do we reinforce, how do we put in, when we were building, anytime you're putting in contract, you always concrete, you always have those reinforcements, or those rods, those metal rods, those iron rods that go in there to help make that concrete stronger. And so what are the small things that you need to do in your marriage to reinforce it? Small breaches, old hurts, moments where confidence was shaken. How do you go back and have the conversations that you need to have in order to put in some reinforcements. Okay. So what are the conversations that you need to have? What are the hurts that you have just, kind of bottled up and put it on a shelf, put a bow on it and acted like it was okay, but it really wasn't. So when we create that bond, when we reinforce those spaces, then trust can be regained. When we reinforce those bonds, then trust can be regained. Trust doesn't need perfection. It needs attention. So we've got to have that time, and we've got to focus on those things that create and build trust. Okay. And then there's an emotional connection reinforcement. So how are we emotionally being reconnected?
Because you can be emotionally distant.
Absolutely.
And
you can still be in the same space. We can be here and
right.
still be, there could be a chasm in between us.
And I think that's a major thing in a whole lot of marriages right now, is we are together, we're occupying the same space, we're sharing the same space, but we are disconnected.
We both got ashy
we are
hands.
disconnected emotionally, and sometimes it's just because we're in the busyness of doing life. But a disconnect is still a disconnect, no matter how it happened, no matter what created it. It's still there, and we need to deal with it. So how do we look at reconnecting when we feel like we've been disconnected? What are we going to do in the present to make us reconnect? And let me go even further. What piece of that do we each own?
Because it's not just one person.
Yeah, it's not just one person. Okay, I know you think it's always him and you think it's always her. No, it's the both of yous. It's the both of y'all's.
It takes two people to make this not work.
Not work. Right. So then what do we need to do? What part do I own? What part does my spouse own, so that we can reconnect on purpose? Because when you get disconnected, sometimes you have to do things on purpose, and sometimes a little out of the ordinary, in order to bring it back around.
And sometimes you may even need a third person. So you may need a mediator to help y'all figure out how to get back on track, which is never, but again, don't go call your single friends.
Right.
Don't go call, the one that is going to be on your side, because that's not the point. The point is for the mediator to be a person who is neutral and does not have a stake in it, and is not trying to find how to get either one of y'all.
Right.
The new mediator is not trying to get your man. Okay. So be careful in who you choose to help you to push through that. There are people that are, certified coaches. There are people that are therapists and counselors that do have the skills to help you. And sometimes it's just somebody pointing out, do you realize when you say this is what happens? And that's when, did you watch her shut down? Because people don't always know. People don't always recognize. Spouses don't always recognize. I just said this. You physically shut down, but I didn't pay attention to that. And so sometimes that other person or other people may help you to say, hey, when you said that, did you see what just happened to his or her body?
Right.
Okay. Because on both sides, shutdown can happen for men and for women. Okay. So emotional distance is one of the first indicators of a foundation leak. When you walk into a room and you don't feel anything, when y'all are together and you don't feel anything.
So you don't feel, you mean like goosebumps? What do you mean?
I mean, you don't feel connected.
Okay.
So we're here, but I don't feel like you're here. Then that's when I have to start looking at, okay, what's going on?
And I like what you're saying, because when I don't feel connected, I start layering in things to fill those voided spaces. You make yourself busier at work. You go and do a lot of things.
You don't have to be in the space.
Basically, you're not dealing with the issue. So you find things to fill those spaces, and you end up saying, well, I'm just so busy right now. Let me give you a little bit of firm, solid foundation advice.
Oh, Lord.
Ain't nobody that busy. Okay. I'm just telling you the truth. You are busy doing the things that you want to do, but ain't nobody that busy that you just are unavailable. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, sometimes you just need to be, you just need to unavailable yourself.
That's true.
I mean, you just do. You need to separate, yourself from others so that you can focus on what's most important. Because I promise you, if your marriage has any kind of strength, when crisis hits, it'll be the relationship between you two that is the strongest. But sometimes it's also the relationship between you two that is most tested, right?
True.
And it's not because y'all both knuckleheads, but it's because of the intimacy that's been involved in this relationship. It's because of the vulnerability that's been a part of this relationship that makes this relationship the best. And sometimes it can be the most challenging, because at the end of the day, you know me.
Mm-hmm.
I know you. I can't fake the funk. You know what I'm saying? So when you know that, then it's just time to come clean and say, look, we need to sit down and go through some things, or reconnect, or see what we're missing here.
Yeah. And I think the thing is that, this time of year, when there's lots of things that are coming to the end of the year, lots of deadlines, especially if you're self-employed, where you're starting to try to figure out things. I mean, we can be tired and exhausted, and maybe we've not had a vacation, a really good, real vacation. And maybe we've not been able to do some of the things that we would like to have done. And when you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually drained, you take it out on the person that's closest to you. Mm-hmm. And they may not be the person that is actually the person to blame for that. And so that's something that we have to be very careful about. Carrying too much weight, carrying too many things. I know that you often are like, do you have to do this? Do you have to do that? And some things I do have to do just because it's part of getting from point A to point B.
But I challenge her on that all the time. Is this something that you have to do? Do you really need to go there? Do you really need to do that? Because like I say, I think we need to unbusy ourselves. And I mean, what it does in our relationship, it helps my wife in that situation to evaluate, is this something that I really need to do? Or can somebody else handle this? Or is this something that I just need to bump it, just not do it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm real. Hey, look, they be saying, hey, are you going? So, no, I ain't going there.
Don't go nowhere.
How come you ain't going? Because I want to sit here. I want to own the space that I have right now. No, I'm not coming to that. No, not coming.
You don't.
No, and I don't even fake it no more. I used to be, I'm gonna try and make it. I'm gonna try and get there.
You don't even think.
I just need to quit lying, because I knew it wasn't coming anyway.
That part.
So I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna come to that. But I do go to things that I feel like are critical, are important. But I'm just not showing up to every fish fry. I fry my own fish. Hey, I'm just trying to help you out there. Because what happens is, if you running here, she's running there, you running there, she's running there. What y'all doing is y'all running, but nobody's ever connecting.
I agree.
And you connect when you sleep, but then you sleep. Then you get up, brush your teeth, and you headed out the door, ripping and running again.
And hopefully you took the time to pray, at least took the time to pray.
At least pray in the morning, right? But there's no slow down period. And when you get used to burning high octane fuel, you have to force yourself to slow down.
Yeah, that is hard.
Yeah.
Although I did sleep in today.
You did? Did you?
I did. When you came upstairs at 8:00, I was still in the bed.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna give you that one.
So I did sleep in today. That's an unusual thing. All right. So ask each other this week, what do you need from me to feel more secure, supported, and loved as we entered in 2026? So I think, just like he said, sometimes just him being able to say, hey, do you really need to do this? Is this really something that you need to do? First of all, it helps me to recognize and to see that he actually sees what I'm doing. He actually is watching. He's actually tuned in, versus me just, doing what I'm doing. And so sometimes, how do you, what do I need? I had a big event that came up at the beginning of December, and he was like, hey, What do you need me to do? How can I help you so that there's, to take the pressure off? What are things that I can do? And so sometimes it's just asking that, can I wash the dishes? Can I do the laundry? Can I take our kids? Because they're our kids. So I'm not babysitting if they're my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Dads don't babysit.
Mm-hmm. True that.
They're your children.
True that. I'm gonna give you that.
You're not babysitting.
Yeah,
they're your children.
Yeah, bro. Them your kids. Come
Okay.
on. How you babysitting?
So we're not babysitting. They're your children. Okay. Right. So can I take our kids somewhere so that you can have a break and not have to take a bath with little fingers underneath the door, yelling? Okay. So think about what are the questions that you need to be asking? What is, asking that good reinforcing question so that each other. What are the things that we need to support each other this year coming up? And think about it. Christmas is coming what? When? Thursday? Yes, it's on Thursday. We don't really care about Christmas, but it is on Thursday.
Okay.
And
you say so.
It is. It's on Thursday because Kwanzaa's on Friday. That's how I know. But anyway, so it's on Thursday. What are some ways in which you can help your spouse? Cooking, cleaning up, making sure that things are ready, especially if you have family coming over.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. How do you make those connections? And those connections can happen in doing domestic things. But, sometimes you just need to go take a drive.
Ooh,
because, we often say, my wife always says, in washing the dishes and running the vacuum and all that domestic stuff. And that's wonderful. But we can connect.
You don't need domestic stuff?
No, well, I do need some domestication.
You probably do because you're a little feral.
but sometimes it doesn't have to be something tied to the house.
I say that because I know how it was as a mom. So I think that I always go back to that. For those of you out there in the world that have small kids or younger kids, that's why I always think about that, because there's a lot of them out there. For those of us that are older and don't have children at home, then that may be a different situation.
Right, you can do something a little different. So wherever you are, in your stage of happily ever after, figure this out. How do you put together quality time? So that you don't end up disconnecting in the busyness of the holidays. Where are you going to build your quality family time in? Family time, not your mama and them.
That part.
I'm talking about your little cousin. I ain't talking about Junebug. I ain't talking about none of them. Where is the nuclear family? Where is our family time? Whether it is 2 of us or 4 of us or 15 of y'all, right? Yikes. Where is the time where we come together and celebrate each other? And it doesn't have to just be Christmas gifts all over the place and all that. You could celebrate something special about a person by just giving them a compliment. I appreciate when you do this. I celebrate you today. I'm cheapening y'all Christmas. I'm about to save y'all $1,000 on Christmas. You need to send me at least some tithes off that grand. I'm just saying. All right, but you could do a simple. How do I celebrate? I celebrate you because you are blah 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 blah.
I know. I think we get really caught up on.
Has to be a gift.
But it has to be a tangible gift. And I think too often we've bought into the commercialism of what Christmas is. Because if we're honest, we buy whatever we want to buy when we want to buy it all year long.
Right.
So why do we have to wait until this specific time to say, oh, now I'm going to give you 1,000 things that I'm in 6 weeks won't even know where it's at.
Right.
Okay.
So then we have to learn how to not disconnect in these busy times. So here's some questions. Will we pray together at least twice a week, right? Will we strengthen our bond before January 1? You got like 8 days.
So these are some things
9 days.
So when we think about if we're strengthening before this end of the year, these are some examples of some things that you can do. You can pray together at least twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
We pray together Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do it necessarily on the weekends, but Monday through Friday we pray together. So I would say, while you're trying to build a new habit, at least do it. Try to do it twice a week.
Right. You can schedule intentional connection time. You know, all of a sudden, I don't know when it happened, but my wife kind of enjoys football a little bit now.
I have always watched.
Have you always liked football?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I always knew what was going on.
Okay.
I lived in a household of women that watched football.
So you know, we might sit back and watch the football game. I just got to get her to come. I just got to get her to come from upstairs down to the man cave downstairs to watch the football game, so we can spend that time together. Because she'll have the TV on up here. I got the TV on down there,
and you know, we're yelling.
and you know our TVs are a little off, so you know they're speaking, and then this TV's, I don't know, 2 seconds behind that one, and it's just, you know, so we need to condense that and spend that time together. That's just something that we can do. Just thinking out the box, you know.
So let's just think about, we'll divide one overloaded responsibility differently. So how is there something we've been on our decluttering program.
We still got work to do on that one.
We do, but we've been on it. We've been doing good. Mm-hmm. So we've been on our decluttering. So it's been dividing that up and deciding what we're going to do. And you did a really good, take all the stuff and get it to the Goodwill. So that
I got it to the Goodwill. But this next one, we're going to get it to the good feel. Trash.
Right.
That's where it needs to go. But even in that, sometimes you clutter so much into your life until you can't fit anything else in there. That's true in relationships, right?
Okay. So we want to stop avoiding
conversations that need to happen.
Yeah.
That if you need to have this conversation, have it. Figure out a way.
Sit down in a space and if you know that if you feel like it's going to be a screaming match, maybe you go to a little coffee shop, or you go to a little restaurant, or you go to a little something where it's public and people I ain't going to act a fool in public.
Right.
But we need to have this conversation. So we find a corner so that everybody ain't all up in our business, but you also aren't going to trip out in public.
You shouldn't trip out in public.
Well, we would hope.
And make sure, if it's going to get that heated, maybe y'all need to drive separate cars. Hopefully you don't.
Right.
Hopefully you don't. All right. Will we commit to therapy or coaching or a marriage devotion? Will we commit? Are we willing to commit that kind of effort?
And we will do our 30-day devotional again in 2026. So we've done some updates to it, and it'll be really cool. So we will do that. We will do that challenge again in Q1 for 2026.
Mm-hmm. So to capture all this together, we'll say like plans create strength, strength supports vision, vision builds legacy.
Y'all got that?
Okay.
Plans create strength.
Strength supports vision.
Vision builds legacy. And what are you trying to build? You're trying to build your happily ever after.
There you go.
That is your legacy. Your happily ever after. I was looking at the other day, a friend and her spouse had died. They had been married 63 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah, that's a real long time.
That's almost as long as you've been alive.
Almost. Not quite. Wait a minute. No, that's longer than what I've been alive.
I know.
What we trying to...
That's what I said.
That's not what you said. You said that's almost as long as you've been alive. No, that's wrong. That is longer than what I've been alive. See, y'all, she trying to put that sneak on me.
Here's the thing. You had to think about it, though.
Well, I didn't have to think long.
So, Isaiah 54:2 says, enlarge the place of your tent, strengthen your stakes. God said enlarge, but not before strengthening the stakes. Mm-hmm. Elevation requires reinforcement. So you've got to make sure that strength is there before you can elevate.
Right.
We
Right.
want to build strong foundations, but we want to build strong. We're building on strong foundations so that we can build a strong structure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Love work, love work, love work. Reinforce one thing.
One thing this week, reinforce. All right. What can we commit to do to daily or weekly to build it? What can we commit to
Mm-hmm.
daily or weekly to build this thing that we're strengthening our marriage, whatever it is? All right. What do we want our foundation to feel like by January 1?
Okay. So, what's one reinforcement that would make our marriage feel stronger? What can we commit to daily or weekly to build it? What do we want our foundation to feel like? Those are the three things we really want you to be thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Those three things. What do we want our foundation to feel like? We want it to be strong and sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
We do not want to have rubbery floors.
Right. Right. Or weak floors. Right. Or squeaky floors. Right. Yeah, because a squeak you live with a lot of times, but it's an indicator that something else is going on.
Yeah.
But as long as it's squeaking, you figure you can tolerate it. But if you tolerate it for too long, it's going to create a problem. Right. So when you see those things happening, now's the time to fix them. Now's the time to work on them before it gets bigger. Right.
All right. So we've got one more thing that we're going to talk about next week. So we've talked about the basement. We've talked about how to reinforce this foundation. Next Monday, we're going to talk about the framework. How do we build a strong framework? Because we want to have this conversation about what does the framework look like before we pop into 2026. But again, I want you over these next few days, while you've got a little break, while you're off work, while you're with the fam, take some time. There's lots of Christmas lights out. Go drive around, look at the Christmas lights, have some conversation, really spend some quality time. Parents or grandparents or, friends and family may be in town. It's a great time to, pawn the kids off on somebody else and hide away.
I'll just vegetate out and watch BET. They got Christmas movies. They got Christmas
that was
movies.
So random.
No, I'm telling you, talking about they got Christmas movies from sun up to sundown.
We did watch a Christmas movie.
Yeah, that we had never seen, yeah. and I thought I'd seen them all.
Oh yeah, we watched two the
now,
other.
Don't get me wrong, the plot line is always the same.
They're the same.
It's always the same, but it's a few different faces.
Yeah.
So I watch one of the old cartoons that you watched as a kid, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or any of that kind of stuff. What we're talking really about is connecting, being together, being present.
Yeah, we've got some fun stuff that we're going to do over the Christmas and those couple of days. So you don't know this, but we are.
For this fun stuff.
Hey, it's all free fun stuff.
Oh, that's my kind of fun stuff. I'm all for fun free.
It's free fun stuff.
All right, that works. All
right, so again, this concludes our basement season. Next week, we will talk about moving into the framework season as we prepare for 2026. New marriage encounter schedule coming in January. There's some stuff that we're going to be doing.
That you need to be a part of.
There will be some prompts that are going to go into there, and we're going to do some visioning in 2020 in January. And so if you want to be a part of that, be looking out. So there's a lot of things that we're going to be doing, but we want to make sure that you are a part of it. Shoot us any questions that you have. If you have questions that you want us to answer live, we're more than happy to do that. We would like to do that. We would love to be able to do that. We also are going to probably do a live where we just, where people can pop on and ask live questions.
Right.
Ooh, that might be scary, but
hey,
we
got
got it.
We got this. And please understand that we are about building marriages. We're not about gathering together to have a party or anything. Nothing wrong with any of that stuff.
That's not really our focus.
What we want to do, is to help you build a firm foundation in your happily ever after, right? And that could include, some slow dancing. That could include whatever. But at the end of the day, we want your marriage to be solid, right? And so sometimes we got to step away from the fun stuff and deal with the practical foundation work that'll keep you together long after the hair fades.
And we are doing, I know many of y'all have been asking, and I threw it out there to see if you want to do holy yoga. We are going to do that because he likes yoga.
I do yoga. Matter of fact, I had some yoga yoga, not yogurt. I'm sorry.
I don't like you at all.
No, I do practice yoga though. Now I don't do all of the chanting and all that other ridiculous stuff. I don't do none of that. But the stretching, oh yeah. At least minimum of 2 times a week. I can downward dog. I can do all that. I can warrior 1, warrior 2. I can do fish, reverse fish. I mean, no, because as you age, you need to stretch this old body out some.
So yeah, so in January we will be doing some of that. We'll kind of look at the weather and see when we've got some nicer days. So we're not going to do it in the snow, but we definitely want to do some of those things. So be looking at the page. Make sure that you have gone in and you've liked the Marriage Encounters with Bill and Michelle on Facebook. It is a group. And so make sure you've liked that group. And we are working on a school group as well. And so there's just some stuff that'll be coming out in the new year.
Right. So, hey, blessings to you all. We won't see you before the Christmas holiday. So we certainly want to say
Merry
have
Christmas.
a Merry Christ must. Like Christ must be in your Christmas. Have one of those. Love on your family. Love on your spouse. Seal it with a kiss, so that the world knows that y'all in it to win it. And remember how we always do it. We do it with faith,
fun,
and forever love.
doggy
Doggy style.
See y'all.